So I'm going to skip lesson 1.6. So in our last discussion, which is 1.5, we talked about triangles. And so 1.6 gets into quadrilaterals, but due to my absence today, I figured I would jump to a lesson that hopefully the content is a little more familiar to you. That would be also change of pace in terms of just spending time trying to do definitions. So in this lesson, we're doing transformations, and so in middle school, as well as elementary, you would have spent some time talking about translations, rotations, and reflections. So you're going to be doing what's called transformational golf, where you're going to take the pre-image, which will be the solid L, and moving it to its new location. Sometimes there'll be an obstacle in the way, and if there is an obstacle in the way, you just can't simply slide through it, and which we'll demonstrate here in a moment. We can go around it, we can rotate it if you want to do rotation, or a reflection. Maybe you can reflect the object over the square and be able to avoid the obstacle as well. Kind of like doing a pitch. If you're doing golfing, you kind of pitch it onto the green. You can kind of reflect it over the obstacle. So here, for example, would be an example where we have this obstacle that's in the way. And if I would click on translate, for example, you're going to get what's called a vector. So you're going to use this point here to place on the shape. And then this point here is where you're taking that point and where you're moving it to. So for example, that point and that point there would be considered the pre-image of that point, and that's the image at that point. If I click submit for the translate, you notice that the shape itself breaks apart because it's going through that obstacle. And so anytime an object goes through an obstacle, it's going to break it apart. So you're going to have to figure out a way to avoid that. So maybe one way of doing that is just simply to move the obstacle from left to right, and then maybe another translation where you're moving the shape up to a new location, such as this. Another option for this problem is rotation. If I click on rotation, you're going to get a circle. You can left click and hold the mouse button down. You can move it wherever you want to. But this is basically the point at which the object is going to be rotated around. So, if I click on this, you're going to, I'm sorry, it's over here. You click on this, you're going to be able to go clockwise or counterclockwise. You can indicate the angle measurement. So let's say I want to keep it 90 going counterclockwise, click submit, and it's going to rotate the shape 90 degrees. Clearly not going to be enough to get there, but at least gives you an opportunity to see what a rotation looks like. So for example, if I want to rotate again, and let's say I want it to be clockwise, and let's say this time I increase the angle to, let's say, 50 degrees. Click submit, it's going to rotate it to that location. So rotation allows you to literally rotate a shape, and you use this point here as a way of identifying what's the points that you're rotating around, be able to figure out the answer to this one. If you're going to be doing a reflection, for example, it's going to be a line. And so if I would just do, let's say, a vertical line, for example, and I ask to reflect it, it's going to reflect it right over. If I want to reflect this direction, for example, and I put this here because I want to put in harm's way the obstacle. If I want to reflect this shape over this object here, obstacle, if I click submit, you'll notice that it didn't break it into pieces. So it is looking at the reflection as being like doing a pitch, in terms of pitching a wedge, where you're actually getting the object off the ground and it's going to go over the obstacle. So again, if I want to reflect, I can do even the line diagonally if I need to. And put in my submit, and it'll reflect it right over. So if I want to do this as play all, there's the first one I did, there's the second one I did, and there's the third one I did. So your goal in doing this is you're trying to get these objects, the purple rectangle onto the image, and you have these tools to do it. You can do one translation, you can do multiple translations, same thing with rotation and reflection. You're not required to use all three of them. You might be able to get to the final answer, the purple L onto the non-colored L. And you may use only rotation, or you may only use reflection or translation, or you may find yourself using some combination. As you move through, they will ask you some questions, so please think about the questions. Make sure that when you're answering them and giving your opinion, that you really have thought about all the possibilities in terms of the question. You ask them to describe some strategies, and then eventually you're going to have some challenge problems. And so as you work through the activity, some of these challenges may seem not like challenges, but you're going to find that some of them actually end up being quite challenging, such as this challenge number 8. So your goal is to try to get through as much of it as you can. I will be looking at your activity. And then we'll talk about it on Thursday, if I have you on Tuesday this week, or Friday if I happen to have you on Wednesday this week.